For a second, Neymar was thinking about doing something very bad. He ended up smiling and taking it as a joke. But it hasn't always ended so well for some of Barca's players. Here are the 6 biggest fights that took place at FC Barcelona. Messi versus Ter Stegen. February 2020, the daily sports newspaper AS confirmed that 2 of Barcelona's stars got into a fight in training. The next day, the very trustworthy paper El País was more specific and announced that the 2 stars in question were Lionel Messi and Marc-Andre Ter Stegen. The origin of the fight could have been an overly forceful attempt to win the ball back. This misdemeanor between the goalkeeper and his number 10 also came at a difficult time for Barca. The situation was very tense. Ernesto Valverde's dismissal, the Abidal-Messi clash, questionable results, average performances. In short, there were lots of stressful factors affecting the players. But happily for this club, everything is much better now. Guardiola versus Zlatan. In 2009-2010, Pep Guardiola was relying on Zlatan Ibrahimovic to replace Samuel Eto'o up front for FC Barcelona, a seemingly safe bet. Because Zlatan had been exceptional at Inter for several seasons. But it ended up being a losing bet for Guardiola, Zlatan, and Barca. While the season was in full swing, Lionel Messi let Guardiola know that he was struggling to adapt to Zlatan's game. The Catalan coach decided to prioritize Messi's well-being. This marked the breakup between the Swede and the Catalan and the start of the fighting, too. When Messi started to open up to him and ask him to have another role on the pitch, Guardiola listened to him. I was sacrificed. He preferred to make Messi happy without even giving me the slightest chance. I told him that I was a Ferrari and he was driving me like a Fiat. Staying with cars, Guardiola wasn't afraid to call out the Z. You've got to keep your feet on the ground at Barca. You've got to keep a low profile. You don't come to training in a Porsche or a Ferrari. A piece of advice that Zlatan decided to ignore. One day, for instance, I shouted at him, "You don't have any balls. You shit yourself against Marino. Go to hell." The constant fights and the tricky relationship between the 2 men led to the Swedish striker leaving at the end of his only season at the Catalan club. Zlatan's departure led to David Villa signing for Barcelona. That's convenient because he's our next example. Messi versus Villa. It's 2012. Messi is having the best season of his career. This is the year he breaks the goal record in a calendar year. Exit the German Gerd Müller and his 85 goals. Step in the Argentinian Lionel Messi and his 86 goals. But in September 2012, up against Granada, Messi was clearly annoyed. During one attack, David Villa completely ignored La Pulga. El Guaje was immediately subjected to the full anger of a player who was still just a 3-time Ballon d'Or. Messi was annoyed at his teammate for being too slow at passing the ball. Messi looks really annoyed on the TV footage. But this was just untimely, just some tension during the match, because Messi immediately calmed the situation after the game. I have no problem with El Guaje. Quite the opposite. Don't look for problems that aren't there. These are facts of the match, and there was pressure to score the first goal so that everything would become simpler. It's worth mentioning that a year earlier, the Spanish press already reported on a coldness between the 2 men. Hey, just leave them alone! Neymar versus Semedo. In 2017, it was 2 Portuguese speakers who butted heads at Barcelona. The excitable Portuguese player Nelson Semedo had just arrived at Barca to take up the right-back position. He was naturally full of energy and wanted to quickly earn his place. At the same time, the Brazilian Neymar was on the verge of leaving for Paris. As a result, he was quite uptight, especially as his friends were doing everything to make him stay. Semedo and Neymar weren't teammates for long, but it was long enough for them to get into a fight. While the 2 men barely knew each other, the new recruit rammed into the back of the club's future ex, who completely lost it. So much so that Neymar wanted to throw down in the middle of a training session that the media had been invited to. Beside himself, he even left training because of this misdemeanor. Guardiola versus Eto'o. Now we're getting to the real fights and real hatred, especially from Eto'o. When Guardiola took the reins at Barca in 2008, he wanted to get rid of Ronaldinho, Deco, and Samuel Eto'o. And the unfriendly manner in which he went about it didn't please the Cameroonian. I reminded Guardiola when he arrived that he was never a great player. I told him the person who'll make you win is Eto'o. When Guardiola insisted that he leave, Eto'o again hit back with a killer one-liner. I had a really great offer to play in Uzbekistan for 6 months, and they would have given me $26 million. In his office, Guardiola told me that it could be good. Go for it. I told him, the person who will make you win is Eto'o, and you're going to apologize. Even when it came to tactics, Eto'o and Guardiola disagreed. Pep wanted to give me striking lessons, but he was a midfielder. Pep told me how to move like an attacker. I told him, you're not normal, are you? Together for only 1 season, they still managed to do the treble with Barca, La Liga, the Champions League, and the Copa del Rey. Just imagine if they got on well. Messi versus Piqué. At the end of the summer of 2018, Barca were having difficulty in La Liga. The club had only taken 3 out of a possible 12 points. Not good enough for such a club. And it was in this moment of incertitude that Messi and Gerard Piqué had a go at each other. You only speak to the media when you're in Argentina. And your defense lets in too many goals. Ooh, what a comeback, Leo. Don't forget that it's also your defense, too. At the time, Spanish talk shows made the most of it, blowing things out of proportion. They talked about a total divorce between the team's 2 leading men. Piqué is criticizing Messi because he doesn't speak to the press when the situation becomes difficult at Barca. In truth, there wasn't any sort of divorce. Piqué just wanted his friend Messi to defend their team more, as any good captain should, especially when they were being attacked by the press. Something Messi started doing more from that point on. Everything is fine today, that's clear, but we just want to make sure you know. Some of these 6 stories are more well-known than others, some more serious than others. On the other hand, they do prove that people in the football world, coaches and players, are human beings with emotions, moods, and egos too. Fights and arguments happen. That's just part of being human. No one is perfect.